In fact, Walter still has a lot of business requirements for Doris, and even wants her to help him hollow out the Emgrand group. It's just that Walter didn't say this in front of Charlie. However, Walter had reservations, but it still made Charlie angry and unbearable. He grabbed Walter by the collar and slapped him with his other hand. This slap made Walter dizzy. Not only half of his face swelled up, but even the corners of his mouth and nostrils began to bleed continuously. He was so dizzy that he could hardly stand still. Charlie said coldly at this moment, "Remember, any woman is not something you can insult casually." He covered his side face in pain, and cursed angrily, "Asshole. Do you dare to hit me? No one ever dared to raise their hand on me in my entire life. You bastard dared to hit me in the face." Charlie sneered, raised his hand and slapped him fiercely once again. Seeing that his face was swollen into a symmetrical shape and looked like a pig's head, he said coldly, "Your parents never taught you. Do you have to learn how to behave with your tail caught in someone else's territory?" Walter was beaten up, and his heart was already extremely angry. At the same time, he regretted it very much. He felt that he was carrying a bodyguard on this trip, but because he came to see Doris, he didn't let the bodyguard come upstairs. Otherwise, how could he be hit by someone like Charlie? Walter himself is a tall man and occasionally exercises fitness. The punching force is much greater than that of an average adult. In addition, he is angry at this time, and he subconsciously waved his hands to fight back. He raised his fist and hit Charlie's nose. He has always been insidious, and the tactic he planned in his heart was to smash Charlie's nose with one punch. Once the bridge of the nose is broken, the severe pain will make the receiver unable to open their eyes, and the combat effectiveness will drop rapidly. Immediately afterward, he can directly kick the vital parts below him, completely abolishing all his fighting power. Walter's trick is the most detrimental in street fighting. He hits the opponent's nose with his forehead first and then takes advantage of his lack of preparation to take the key. It often allows people to turn defeat into victory at an absolute disadvantageous time. However, Walter didn't know what terrible strength the seemingly gentle and even thin man in front of him had. Walter slammed a punch, thinking that he was already determined to win. But he thought about it, this punch went out, and when Charlie was about to face the impact, he was suddenly caught by a big hand. This big hand is so powerful that he suddenly slams a punch, instantly removing all the strength. Not only that, but he can't even let his fists go forward. Walter was shocked, and hurriedly wanted to pull his fists back, but in the next second, he discovered that the opponent's strength was so great that he could not shake these big hands with all his strength. It feels like an ant is pressed at the fingertips of a giant, completely without any ability to resist. In Walter's opinion, this almost violates the common sense of physics. In his opinion, even if the opponent is very strong, he can't break away from the opponent's restraint at all. But if he uses all the strength to pull, the opponent's arm must at least move with it. Even if the opponent is a world champion, it is impossible to get rid of violently, ensuring that his arm is almost motionless. Only at this moment did Walter realize that he was in trouble. With such a weird skill, even if the bodyguard follows him up, it is of no use. So, he immediately put on an extremely flattering expression, and confessed, "Mr. Wade, I am really sorry. I have just arrived, but I don't know the rules, and I hope you don't have acquaintance with me." Charlie grabbed his fist tightly, and asked with a sneer, "What? If you can't beat me, you will admit defeat? This is what you call the Hogwarts family style." Walter thought that Charlie would dare to humiliate his family. Naturally, he was extremely angry. However, he knew very well that the disparity in strength between himself and Charlie was too great, and only by recognizing counsel could he minimize the loss. As for the lost face, it doesn't matter much. The big deal is when you find the opportunity to get it back 1,000 times, a temporary setback is nothing. Thinking of this, he immediately laughed and said, "Mr. Wade, as you say, the Hogwarts family does have some strength in the United States, but this is China, Orus Hill, and it is not my turn to be wild here." After finishing speaking, he pretended to be pious and pleaded, Mr. Wade, please see that I am the first offender and have already been slapped by you. Just forgive me this time." Seeing his face swollen into a pig's head, Charlie coldly snorted. "You don't even realize what your biggest mistake is. So, in my opinion, your superficial apology is just nothing more than the skill of getting out of trouble. There is no real intention in it." Walter's scared face turned pale, and he blurted out, "Mr. Wade, you really misunderstood me. I know that I am wrong, and I say that with all my intentions. I apologize." Charlie sneered, and then suddenly twisted his right hand, and Walter's wrist broke at the sound of a click. Walter screamed in pain immediately, and almost collapsed and shouted, "My hand. Why did you treat me this way? I have already submitted to you." Charlie looked at him and said coldly, "The person you should apologize to most is not me, but Doris. You threatened her with your kidney source to achieve your shameful, nasty goals. Have you ever thought about it? Want to apologize to her?" As soon as Walter heard this, he hurriedly looked at Doris on the side and blurted out, "Doris, I was wrong. I really knew it was wrong. Please don't be angry with me, and help me with Mr. Wade. Please, please." At this moment, Doris felt more or less compassionate. Although she knew that Walter was a nasty person, in her opinion, Walter's nastiness was only his own wishful thinking, and she did not agree with him, nor was she intimidated by him. And looking at the current Walter, he had been beaten badly enough, and even one of his wrists was broken, which is almost the same. So she said to Charlie, "Mr. Wade, let him go. After all, I have nothing to lose." Charlie nodded. He also didn't want to be familiar with Walter anymore. The descendant of an American real estate developer, worth tens of billions of dollars, will not be ignored by the government itself, not to mention this is still in Oro's Hill. Therefore, as long as this Walter rolls farther from now on, he doesn't bother to be angry with him. So, he stared at Walter and warned word by word, "From now on, don't let me see you again, and don't let Doris see you again, understand?" When Walter heard this, he immediately felt the granting of amnesty. He looked at Charlie and nodded like garlic and said, "Mr. Wade, don't worry, I will definitely not appear in front of you and Doris in the future." When he said this, Walter thought in his heart, "Okay, you little thing named Wade, you fucking dare to beat me, and you dare to break my wrist. If I don't kill you, my name is not Walter." Charlie didn't bother to listen to his nonsense at this time, loosened his hand, and said disdainfully, "Hurry up. Get out of here, now." Walter nodded again and again, Yes, I'll get out of here. Now get out of." With that, he turned around and walked out. At this moment, Charlie frowned slightly, and suddenly called him sternly, "Wait a moment. I have a question for you."